Hello, everyone. This is Jay Dobbins, your host of the Marvel DC Universe Fan Club. We are now at episode 118, and I'll be discussing one topic only, which is Captain Marvel cast list. Well, some, not all, that are confirmed. Marvel heroes and, of course, villains. So, I'm going to start off with saying that it's been 3.5 years since the Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 3 slate of movies was announced, and we're finally entering the home stretch, of course, which is going to be Avengers 4, which will conclude this era of the franchise. But before that, we'll be winding the clock back. Well, they'll be winding the clock back to the 1990s, approximately a decade before Iron Man launched the modern MCU, and meet Carol Danvers for the first time in Captain Marvel. Because of its setting, Captain Marvel will be one of the more standalone entries in the MCU, but not to worry, because there will be plenty of characters from the Marvel Comics universe who will be stopping by, some of whom we've already seen on the big screen. So here are the heroes and villains who are confirmed to appear in Captain Marvel, as well as, well, I'm not going to identify other actors who are showing up, but the characters haven't been identified yet, so I'm just going to go with the familiar faces, pretty much. Of course, you got Carol Danvers, introduced in 1968. Her previous superhero monikers included Miss Marvel, Binary, and Warbird. But since 2012, she's been serving as the current Captain Marvel, making her the 7th individual to have that title in the Marvel Comics universe. So let's not forget that DC Comics Shazam was called that for decades. For the Captain Marvel movie, she'll be played by, of course, Brie Larson, who is a Academy Award winner for Best Actress in the movie Room. That's what it was. Who was officially confirmed for the role at the 2016 San Diego Comic-Con. Let's see. So far, the only official details about the MCU's Carol that have been revealed are that, like her comic book counterpart, she is an Air Force pilot who gains special abilities, super strength, flight, energy projection, after her body is infused with alien DNA during an incident. So there were leaked set photos showed Larson wearing a costume that looked just like what she wears in the comics, only that it had a green color scheme. However, the concept art shown at last year, well, I wouldn't say, yeah, I think it was last year's San Diego Comic-Con. It was revealed that individually Carol will don her traditional red, blue, and yellow colors. And like the other MCU superheroes, Brie Larson's Carol has a bright future ahead of her, as it's been confirmed that she will participate in Avengers 4, which comes out 2 months after Captain Marvel. So since there's a 2-decade gap between Captain Marvel and uh, Avengers 4, it'll be interesting to learn why Carol hasn't aged at all. So you have, so here's another character, of course, Mar-Vell. In the Marvel comic, in the Marvel Comics universe, the first individual to go by Captain Marvel was Mar-Vell, a Kree agent who was sent by his superiors to spy on Earth and see if it posed any threats to the Kree Empire. Mar-Vell adopted the identity of a recently deceased scientist named Walter Lawson for his civilian cover. But he also started protecting Earth citizens as Captain Marvel, which came about for some misunderstanding his Kree name. Using his natural strength and a device called the Universal Beam that can project energy, down the line, Mar-Vell met Carol Danvers and Mar-Vell's arch-nemesis, Yon-Rogg, kidnapped her to force Mar-Vell into embattling him. So, during the fight, a Kree Psych magnetron device detonated, and that resulted in his DNA being fused with Carol's. So, thus, giving her powers. Eventually, Mar-Vell joined the Avengers and turned his back on the Kree Empire. But exposure to a nerve gas gave him cancer, and he soon died. Mar-Vell will be played in the Captain Marvel movie by Jude Law. Although, though all we know about his role so far is that he will serve as Carol Danvers' mentor and train her to use her new powers. Since he's using the Walter Lawson guys as well, one would imagine that, like his comic book counterpart, he was sent to Earth to spy on us, of course. So, Law is no stranger to major motion pictures, which his credits, including the Sherlock Holmes movies, Road to Perdition, Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, and the upcoming Fantastic Beasts series. Of course, the Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald. So, then we have another character, of course, a familiar character, Nick Fury. Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury has been part of the MCU since the beginning. If it wasn't for him going to Tony Stark's mansion in the Iron Man post-credit scenes to talk about the Avengers Initiative, we wouldn't have known that a much larger world was being set up. We most recently saw Fury in Avengers Infinity War's post-credit scenes, where he faded away along with half of life in the universe after Thanos obtained the 6 Infinity Stones. But before disappearing, Fury managed to transmit a distress signal from a pager-looking device And while it wasn't outright stated who he was contacting, the device featured Captain Marvel's insignia, thus serving as a nice tease for her upcoming movie and her appearance in the fourth Avengers film. So, Captain America's Winter Soldier and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. briefly touched on Nick Fury's pre-Iron Man life. But Captain Marvel will show us how his first encounter with a superhero went down. In other words, Carol Danvers' origin story will somehow see Fury being drawn in. And, let's see. Oh, and that experience will set him on the path that leads to the creation of the Avengers Initiative. The younger Nick Fury and Captain Marvel will, also still has two eyes. So expected to see him lose one of them before the movie is over. Fury commented in the Winter Soldier about how he lost an eye last time he trusted someone. And since the shape-shifting Skrulls, more on them later, of course, are appearing in Captain Marvel, I wouldn't be surprised if one of those aliens is responsible for the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent becoming his cycloptic self. So be ready for that. Oh, and then here's another character, of course, Agent Coulson. Yay! Even though Nick Fury popped up in Iron Man's final minutes, Phil Coulson served as the movie's main S.H.I.E.L.D. representative. What was originally written as a small part morphed into something much bigger, and Clark Gregg reprised Coulson for supporting roles in Iron Man 2, Thor, and the Avengers. That last movie saw Coulson being fatally stabbed by Loki, but just a year later, the Everyman agent was brought back to life for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the, of course, ABC series that still leads, however, he leads that team anyway. But however, none of the Marvel movies have mentioned that Coulson is still alive. Fingers crossed. Avengers 4 remedies that, of course. But for now, it will be nice to see a younger version of Coulson in Captain Marvel. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has dedicated a few episodes to Phil Coulson's exploits before Iron Man, but this will be the earliest we've gone back in his S.H.I.E.L.D. career. So perhaps the events of Captain Marvel are where Coulson proves himself to Fury and becomes one of the spy organization's more valued agents, of course. And then you have Ronan the Accuser. So when we met Lee Pace's Ronan the Accuser in Guardians of the Galaxy, he was enraged that after centuries of conflict, the Kree Empire and Xandar signed a peace treaty to end the war. Determined to see the Xandarians wiped out, Ronan made a deal with Thanos. Ronan would track down the orb, aka the Power Stone, the Purple Stone, of course, and deliver it to Thanos. And in exchange, the Mad Titan would help the Kree antagonist destroy Xandar. However, when Ronan finally obtained the orb, he decided to use its powers himself and renege on his arrangement with Thanos. So, but so yeah, he pretty much double crossed Thanos. Pretty much, he should have just gave him the stone. Would have been a lot easier. Yeah, he probably. But he nearly succeeded in his genocidal campaign, but he was destroyed when Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, and Rocket redirected the orb's energy back at him. Thus, ended Ronan's reign of terror. But Captain Marvel will show us what he was up to approximately 20 years before his demise. So, given that the Kree will play a big role in Carol Danvers' transformation into a superhero, just like in the comics, it makes it makes sense that Ronan will be involved in the story. Although it remains to be seen if he'll actually meet her or will be operating elsewhere. But let's see. Oh, yeah. It will also be interesting to learn if Ronan will, it'll be interesting to learn if Ronan was just as unstable back in the Captain Marvel days, or if he was a little bit calmer then. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So, well, who knows? Maybe something in this movie pushes him on the path of becoming the Zealot we saw in Guardians of the Galaxy. And also want to go on record and say that Djimon Hounsou, who is also in Guardians of the Galaxy, will reprise his role as Korath, Ronan's right hand. So he will also appear in the Captain Marvel movie and reprise his role as Korath. So, but anyway, that's it for now. That concludes this topic. Feel free to visit us and like us on Facebook. We're available on iTunes and Google Play Music app.